Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to Fannin's Flashbacks, the podcast that nobody asked for, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. This podcast is going to cover tales from IWA Mid South during my 12 years with the company, and it will be a part of the BNMVS Podcast Network. This podcast is intended for mature audiences only due to the foul language and graphic details about deathmatch wrestling that it will contain. This will be your backstage pass to get a peek behind the curtain at what led to the downfall of the craziest independent wrestling promotion of the late 1990s, early 2000s. And without any further ado, Nick Manawa, hit the music. Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to episode 34 of Fannin's Flashbacks. It's the podcast nobody asked for, but I decided to give it to you anyway. These are tales from IWA Mid South during my time there from 1997 to 2009. And today I am joined by the last IWA Mid South World Heavyweight Champion in Fannin Family history as of this recording. And more importantly, the longest reigning IWA Mid South champion in history with a reign that lasted 518 days. He is Dingo. Dingo, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. How are you? I'm
great.
What's good with you? You're good? You're good?
I actually have some vacation time to use this week from work, so like trying to get a few of these episodes recorded because I've got wrestling shows the next 3 weekends. So
I'm trying to keep them pretty busy.
Yeah, trying to keep ahead of the game here. So it's great to catch up with you. I don't think we've really interacted since 2009 until here recently. So we got a lot of catching up to do, a lot of memories to try to recreate here, because when we were chatting before this, there might be ladies and gentlemen listening, there might be a lot of I can't remembers as the answers to this stuff as we go through here on both our parts. But we're gonna try to do this the best we can. I wanted to start. I had said this on a previous episode, and I got Michael Z on here and gave him his apology. And I know you said you're not owed one, but you did not get the best efforts out of me by the time that you had come around and joined the family and became part of the team. I had all my thoughts and efforts towards my escape route. So, there was a lot of things that was just going through the motions, and you deserved a hell of a lot better than that. So you said you're the longest reigning IWA Mid South champion in history, and you earned that, and you were a fantastic champion, and you deserved to have my full attention and best efforts out there. And I apologize for not giving that to you.
Well, it's kind and I appreciate it, but obviously, Jim, you don't have to apologize. Things happen, life happens. It's not a big deal. It ebbs and flows. You should know. I mean, like me, we both notice about wrestling, like just the idea and sometimes our love for the game, it will definitely ebb and flow, like we were talking about just before. I'm like, I was at a point where I was just like, wrestling wasn't completely dead for me, but it was like, it was the flames were starting to drop a little bit, and then so I completely understand where you're coming from. So you don't owe me an apology, like none at all. No big deal.
Well, I accept it,
but you don't owe.
Oh, I appreciate that. And so since that part is out of the way, we can dive full into this. I always start off just by trying to get to know the guest and let them tell their story. And it always has to start with, how did you become a wrestling fan in the first place? Were you a baby dingo running in the outback and, wrestling with the kangaroos and the wallabies, and that's what got you into this? Or, did you see Outback Jack on TV and you how did this come about? Or were you a late bloomer?
No. I much like a lot of kids of my generation, elder millennials, we grew up watching, the golden era, essentially. The WWE, the Hogan days, from like the early 80s to obviously the present. But like I got into it because my stepfather just kind of sat me down in front of a TV one day and was like, stop bothering me. And so, yeah. And so the thing that stopped me from bothering him was like Saturday night's main event or some of the shows that were syndicated. A lot of times, like WCW would do late nights on Sunday or Saturday nights in St. Louis, and that's what we'd watch. Like my grandpa would watch along with us too because he used to watch wrestling at the Chase. Like he would take his wife, my grandmother, obviously, and they'd get all gussied up and go to wrestling at the Chase. So like there's a bit of history of wrestling in my family. I got into it as a kid, like everybody else does. Well, like I assume a lot of people do. You know, that's my introduction. My favorite getting into it was Roddy Piper. Like that guy, yeah, Roddy Piper was the one that like made me go, wait, what's going on? This looks like a real fight. Like he was just insane all the time. He's the one that hooked me.
Okay.
So and I don't know, I'm a sucker for bagpipes, as weird as that sounds.
Okay, sucker for bagpipes. All right. Now, wrestling at the Chase, was that Sam Munchnick doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the OGs of the territory days.
We just invoked him into some of our stuff that we're doing in Wrestle Arts.
Okay.
Connor Hopkins, we won the title, but then the commissioner came out, or whatever role he has, the powers that be in Wrestle Arts. He came out to the ring and like overturned the decision, restarted the match, and we ended up losing. So we didn't get the titles. And then we went out back and I cut the promo. I had my friend was there where he's the consigliere of the Fannin family now. So
Right.
I pulled him into it and I'm like, you need to petition Jack Tunney, Sam Munchnick, Stanley Blackburn, Bob Geigel, Wally Carbo, Connor Hopkins threw out Toots Mont. And, so we're like, you could need to do this. And so then we just dropped the interview that my buddy Ben did yesterday that he had to inform me that during my 16 and a half year hiatus, quote unquote, at an undisclosed location in Leavenworth, Kansas, while I was away from wrestling, that Bob Geigel had died and the word did not get to me, and that all the others had died while I was defending IWA Mid South from outlaw mud promoters like Vince McMahon, Jim Cornette, Danny Davis, Danny Daniels, and stuff like that. But yeah, Sam Munchnick was one of the, I was like, these are the powers that be that I recognize, so it's nice that, you have the connections to Munchnick there in St. Louis. And
yeah, when I started in this little like hole in the wall place that was right down the street from the brewery. This little building, our little promotion called, well, not little. It was called MMWA SICW. So it's Mid Missouri Wrestling Association, Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling. It's been around since like, I don't know, the mid 70s, and it runs out of like a little building down the street from the brewery in St. Louis called South Broadway Athletic Club. And it's just, there are people that have come through there that you would not believe, like I remember doing one training session there when I was so fresh, greener than goose shit, like so fresh. I was probably like 17 years old, and in walks Randy Orton, and this is right after his Marine fiasco, and because he was getting ready to go down to OVW, and Bob walked him in and said, hey, see how it feels, this, that, and the other. And I got a small opportunity to roll around with a future legend. So yeah, wrestling's huge in St. Louis. Always has been, always will be.
Right. So while you're, growing up and you have watching all these shows and you got family that, is fans as well, did you ever think growing up that this was something that you could do, or was it just, something that you watched and enjoyed and then you ended up falling backwards into it later?
That's exactly what happened. That's
Yeah.
100% what happened. I watched it. I fell in love with it. Um, then somewhere around, I would say probably around like 1993, 94, it just kind of fell off. My interest fell off. And then I started hanging out with some new friends that I had made in high school and junior high school. And that's when WCW started to pick up again when Hogan first came in. Like, and then there was the Bash at the Beach, and then the NWO, and shit got real hot. And I got super interested in it. So I go to, I'll try to make this as summarized as possible. Started making more friends with the same interest in wrestling. And I made a friend with this guy, and he was like, "Have you ever heard of ECW?" I said, "I have no idea what that is." I was just, standard Mark that knew the big two, and that's it. Yeah, you ever heard of ECW? So I go and watch ECW at his house. He's got the big satellite dishes from back in the day. I think it was on like the Empire Network out of New York,
Okay.
and I was just blown away. I saw Sabu do the triple jump, and I was like, "That's insane." I've never seen anything like that. I want to do that. I want to be that guy. And that, like, Roddy got me hooked on it, like the interest in it. But then I was like, I want to do that. That shit's awesome. I want to do that. So I started researching about it as much as I could, find as much information as I could about it, libraries, videotape trading, back when videotapes were still a thing.
Right.
Um, and I'm working at my very first job somewhere around 17 years old, 16, 17 years old. It's a 7-Eleven. And I'm just talking all mad shit about really old school wrestling, like Fez, Gotch, Hackenschmidt, the whole kit and caboodle. Buddy Rogers, and just going forth all through all the silver era and all that stuff. And there's this lady who's in the aisles, and she's like, "Hey, you sure seem to know a lot about wrestling." I say, "Well, I'm really interested in it, and I've never, I don't even know if they come to St. Louis much anymore for house shows or whatever." And she goes, "Would you ever consider doing it?" And I said, "Well, I would love to do it. That would be fantastic. I mean, where do I even start?" And she goes, "Come down to this address on this date and talk to this guy." And I said, "Okay, sure." I go down to this little shit brick building, just like any other. It was terrible. It was just this brick building that used to be an old church on South 7th in Shenandoah in St. Louis, right off the highway, right off 55. And all the windows are boarded up. And you go up this rickety staircase and just a plain metal door. Knock on the door, like, "What's the password?" kind of shit. It was real weird. Kayfabe was still hanging on by a thread, but it was still hanging on.
Right.
Um, and this little old man opens the door to guy that promotes that South Broadway Athletic Club thing that I was telling you about earlier. And he says, "Who are you here to see?" I said, "John Blackheart." He's a local indie guy. "I'm here to see John Blackheart." And John Blackheart, guy about my size, just a little bit older, a little bit gruffer. He comes in, and that's how I got in. I got in
Wow.
from a female wrestler that just happened to hear me talking about wrestling at
Wow.
7. Yeah.
That's crazy. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've told my story on here, but I'll try to just
Oh, please,
summarize it
please.
up. And it was a lot like I had the big satellite dish in my backyard, and you know, I was a huge Flair guy, and
Yeah.
I was always NWA, WCW all through, and would watch with the syndicated. We had UWF with Bill Watts, and we had
Hell
World
yeah.
Class and stuff like that. So I'd watch that stuff. Um, then when we moved, so my dad was in a wheelchair in the house that we were in. Like, you couldn't get the wheelchair through any of the doors, and so we'd have to like carry him from room to room and shit like that. And so he got hurt while he was working for the state police in Illinois
Oh,
as a
man.
as a fingerprint guy. And so like we eventually ended up, it took 8 years after his accident that left him in his wheelchair, but we finally got where the state got us a house that was handicap accessible.
Nice.
And so but that moved us south of the river bridge. The Illinois River ran right through Morris, and if you
Yeah.
were on the south side of town, you couldn't get cable because it was like at a part of time where they hadn't figured out how to get the cable across the river yet. It's how how old I am. And so we ended up having to get the big satellite dish just so
Oh,
we could keep watching wrestling, because the only options that we really had at that point were WWF superstars and
right.
challenge. And my dad could not stand WWF. I couldn't stand it. We wanted the blood and the guts and the
Yeah.
grit kind of thing. So we got that satellite dish, started getting like all the pay-per-views. And then uh once Hogan came to WCW, that's when I dropped off.
Oh, okay.
Before the NWO stuff, because it was him beating Flair every single month, and then they did like
Right.
the retirement match, and brought in Mr. T, and he brought in all of his WWF friends that I couldn't stand watching, and so
Yeah.
I stopped watching, and then I was flipping through the channels on the big satellite dish, and I think the channel was called Destination America was the channel name, and it had ECW on. And like
Hey.
every night there was a different federation that it would have on at 10 p.m.
Okay.
And one of the nights was ECW, and I was back in hook, line, and
Yep.
sinker after I watched ECW, and I was like, oh my god, this is the most amazing stuff I've ever seen in my life. And it, like, one night would be Smoky Mountain, one night would be ECW, one night would be USWA, one night was like the Joe Savoldi ICW
Oh
on the
shit.
East
Okay.
Coast. But like right around the time I started watching was like right around the time they must have folded, because for like 4 weeks in a row they showed like Tony Atlas winning the title or something like that, and I'm like, okay, I can't watch this every day, so I would like not watch that one. And then they had like a couple of other random things that I didn't really stick with, but the Smoky Mountain, the ECW, and the USWA, I'd started watching that like every week. And so then when I started going to the University of Kentucky right after that, and I fell in with Ben Rich and Les Johns as wrestling fans, and we found out that Ian was running in Louisville, and we were
Yeah.
just an hour and a half away in Lexington. We just started going to those shows, and he called the hotline. Les Johns called the hotline one night after, well, it was like after the first show that we had went to, and Ian was doing Ox Harley versus Man Pondo, but it was like the storyline was very similar to Raven Sandman, because it had like Pondo's ex-wife was with Ox, and they were
Nice.
just doing like doing a lot of the similar things. And then he had Tarek the Great, an American kickboxer, and
Hell yeah.
they were doing the whole like disrespect thing that Rob Van Dam and Sabu were doing. So Les Johns calls the hotline, because you would like have to call the hotline to reserve your tickets for the next week if you wanted front row.
Mhm.
And so he calls and he's like, this was our first show. There's three of us. We're coming back next week. We loved it. Want to make sure we got front row. And the only criticisms we have is, the storylines look straight off of ECW TV with it. And he, like, for some reason he left his phone number, and within an hour, the phone's ringing, and it's like, by the time we had made it back to Lexington after the show, and you've done IWA shows, so it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and the
Yeah.
phone's ringing,
Oh yeah.
and he's like, oh shit, what's the emergency? And he picks it up, and he's like, hello, and you just hear screaming, and it was like he's got the phone held out, and it just, what the fuck do you mean I'm stealing shit from ECW and blah blah blah. And
That's so funny. Like,
somehow like friendship formed off of that, and it just fell backwards into it, because I'm not athletic enough, and I'm too short, and like I grew up where Vince McMahon made every wrestler have to be 6'7", 350 pounds
yep.
of brick shithouse, and And I'm
Yep.
like, it's not anything that I could ever do. But with the indies, the size isn't all that important. And, Ian loved how much I ran my mouth and just threw me out there. And, the rest is history with that. So, it's crazy how just one small little thing, him leaving a voicemail, you talking at work, about it, and just
Yeah.
happen to have somebody that's in the business, listening in and be like, oh, well, here you go. And
It was wild. It was crazy. Like you never know what's going to happen around the corner. Like for people that are too scared or too shy, it's like I don't know if I should. Would throw it out there. Try. Make the phone
yeah,
call. Open your mouth. If this is what you really want to do, make it what you want to do. Talk about it and live it, and just walk the walk and talk the talk, and that shit will come to you. It'll just fall into your lap, and it
right.
did.
And that was like the mistake I made once I got onto the IWA shows. I was awkward, shy, didn't want to, I saw everybody else making their little tapes and sending them out and, making all
Yeah.
these calls and everything. And I took the viewpoint of, well, if somebody wants me, they'll reach out to me. And then that never happened. And so I
No.
never, they're not going to come to you, ladies. And you gotta go after it yourself. And
hundred
now,
percent.
now,
I
now, now I've gone so far the other way that Manawa has to keep like messaging me going, tone it down. Just stop posting on everybody. That's not going to help you. That's not going to help you either. There's other ways to do this. And I'm like, well,
yeah. The cultural world surrounding wrestling has definitely made a shift since you and I respectively started. I think I don't. I'm guessing you got started in like mid 90s, early.
my first night was the night before my 21st birthday, so November 7th, 1970 or 1997 was
Okay.
my first night.
I
Let's see.
I was 2 years after you. I was
Okay.
October of '99.
Okay. Yeah.
So we kind of got the same idea as to like how it was and where it is now, and it's definitely night and day.
Oh,
It's a hundred
completely different.
percent night and day.
I couldn't believe all the differences when I came back, a couple months ago and did,
Me too.
three months ago when I did my first show back, and I'm like, wow, it's so different from when I first started out, and
Yeah.
a lot of it's for the better.
Yes.
Some of it maybe not so much for the better,
Right.
but we'll see how it goes.
All
Uh,
right.
so you fall into it backwards. You
Yeah.
go to the place. Um, like, did they accept you with open arms right
Oh no.
away because you had the info and had
No.
gotten, or were they testing you right from the start?
That's right from the start. Right from the start. It's very old school. There was two rings in the building. So you walk in. It's very picturesque, very much like a movie. And it's old, dumb
And they're always
building.
ready for war games.
Yeah. One was a boxing ring and the other one was a
Okay.
wrestling ring. But at that point, the wrestling ring was so shit beaten that it might as well have been the boxing ring that you took a bump in. Like, so who gives a shit? Um, yeah. And they did. They're like, okay, you want to be a wrestler? And I said, yeah. They go, okay. And I ran ropes for fucking forever. That was the opening salvo was just running ropes, still running ropes. And yeah, I threw up. Everybody has a weird story. I threw up. But and after ropes, bumps, and they just beat the piss out of me. Beat the piss out of me for probably like 4 or 5 hours on end. And they sent me home. They didn't teach me shit. They didn't teach me no hammerlock, no fucking side
Right.
headlock, nothing. Runs and bumps, runs and bumps, runs and bumps. And then when I left, they're like Tuesdays and Thursday nights, 6 o'clock. Okay. And it come to find out, it's pretty much they wanted to see if I would come back.
Right.
And I did. And then they continued to beat my ass some more. and some more and some more. Because again, I'm 5'7". At that point, I weighed about 145 pounds. So I was a little teeny tiny guy, man. I was a little bitty, and they beat the piss out of me. Um, and it's just your standard indie guy at that point, just kind of tall, kind of fat, just. But they were, they were the king shit of Third Mountain, and they're just beating the piss out of this new kid that wants to come in, and I got there early. I stayed late all the time, and they finally took a liking to me at about I guess August of '99 and October of '99. I had my first match under a hood because that's how that always goes.
Right.
And they put me in some stupid fucking random costume, like Ninja One or whatever. And yeah, I did the job for this guy called Lumberjack Andy. Yeah.
Lumberjack Andy. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And he's a sweetheart of a guy, but just a standard indie guy that spins his wheels for a while and then just goes, "Hey, this is what I do for fun now." And
Okay.
he was lovely. He's a nice guy. Again, beat the piss out of me, and I think I got in. I think I got in like a crossbody, and maybe
Wow.
yeah, I think that was it. Like a crossbody
You
block.
actually they actually let you do a move. Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of like I think it was went me into the buckle. He came charging in. I sidestepped. He sold out. I climbed up, crossbody, roll through, pick me up, dump me. We're done.
Nice.
I think that was that. It. That was it. I was like, all right. They let me get one thing in. So I think it was like 8 minutes, maybe tops.
Mm.
But yeah, and it was just it's real gritty and nasty, very bingo hall, very smoke in the air,
Yeah.
cheap beer, and I loved every. This is how old it was, Jim. It's so fucking old that they said, "Hey, you got music?" And I said, "I got something I want to use." And they're like, "Do you have it on cassette tape?" I said, "Music?" And they go, "Do you have it on cassette tape?" All we have is a cassette tape deck to play the music on, and that's yeah.
Yep.
Shout at the devil, Motley Crue. So
Okay. All
yeah,
right. Yeah. Yeah. That was like back in when Manawa's told the story on here, or maybe it was Manawa, but like might have been Brian Vincent, but we had the story on here where one of them would talk about how you'd have to go out to the car and put the cassette tape in and cue it up to make sure
oh,
and make sure that it was ready, and and then Ian would just love those damn that's how like Manawa just started going with like Seven Nation Army or whatever it was called. Anytime there was like multi-man, if it was battle like he's like, no, it's just one song and
yep,
everybody's coming out. And I,
yep.
I am not doing, I'm not, you know, I'm not changing out 8 CDs. I'm not queuing up all these cassette tape. No, not doing it.
Such a
And
clusterfuck when you have a multi-man match and it's just like, what's your music? What's your music? No, we're gonna do the national anthem or something. I don't give a shit. Like whatever fills the void. He's totally right for that too. It's totally right for that. Oh my
nice. Um,
god.
so how did you end up coming up with the Dingo character? And
Okay.
it looked like at first when I was going through Cage Match trying to get some notes, at first it was Diamondback Dingo.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So just a little bit of shoot for you. I don't know if you know this, but I'm not really Australian. I don't know if you're well aware.
See, I was not well aware of this, and
Okay. Yeah.
I
No.
had rugby thug Trent Baker on here, and found I managed him and found out that he wasn't really English, and I was like, God damn it, dude, the image is shattered.
What's funny to me now though is as I've come back, I've ran into like a million different Aussies, like shoot Aussies, from all and they're always like, "Oh, you're the fake one." I'm like, "Yeah." Well,
you're
so
you're the Lance Von Erich of the group.
100%. Where it came up with, where it came from, excuse me, was I was working for that South Broadway Athletic Club, And there used to be this local like competitor, and it was called, funnily enough, GCW. It was Gateway Championship
Okay.
Wrestling.
Yep. Yep.
It had emerged from a company called Midwest Renegade Wrestling that Hondo used to go do. Ian had done that show too. The guy who ran that company was a guy named Big Ben Oliver. He used to go and do some ECW shows for enhancement stuff every now and then. But he started his own company called GTW, and they would come to the South Broadway shows and like start shit, scout talent. You know, it was
Okay.
that's because like ECW was like they would do that stuff where they would go to the WWE house shows
Right.
and they would
Right.
stand up
Right.
front with phones. So they thought like we all know that like there's not much originality in wrestling.
Oh
Like
yeah.
yeah, so like they
Everything's
would
been
get
done to death.
right monkey see monkey do. They would go to a show and start up shit and like
Yep.
they would create some controversy and some press on them. So they saw me. They said, "Hey, you're not bad. You could use a lot of polishing. Do you want to try working for us?" I said, "Sure." So I go up to another hole in the wall gym on the north side of St. Louis, and I started working for them. And after training one night, we all go to this bar, and I'm drinking, and the boss is drinking, and some of us are all just fucking around. And this is real, like right when the Crocodile Hunter was real popular.
Okay.
And so we just start cutting up about it and joking, and I throw out possibly the shittiest Australian accent ever known to man. And he goes, "When you start working, you're going to be called the Diamondback Dingo." I don't know why, but this guy like he loved alliteration, loved it. You know,
Okay.
like, he did. Yeah, he like yeah. One of his shows was like big ass birthday bash, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's obviously a cop from ECW, but anyways, yeah, so you're gonna be the Diamondback Dingo. And I said, all right, fine. I just was like so happy and excited to work from a different company that I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do whatever. I don't give a shit. I'll be a janitor if that's what you want me to do. I don't care. So I did that uh, for that entire tenure that I was there. I merged into Dingo. They gave me like their middle class title, basically, like an intercontinental or a cruiserweight or whatever. And as soon as that they gave me that, I was like, nah, I'm just go to Dingo. Just go to Dingo. It's easier. It's two syllables. Dingo, Dingo. People, it's easy. We'll just do it that way. And that's where that came from. Yeah, that's pretty much it on that. I kind of
Okay.
just made it my own thing. You know.
Okay. But it came from the other guy. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you wanting
No.
to do it.
No.
Okay.
No, it's
Okay.
one of those things where like somebody gives it to you and you're like, you can either
Run with
half-ass it
it.
or embrace it. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, fuck it, I'll run through it. I'll be so stupid and over the top. I used to wear like a dumb, um, like a dumb like Bushman's hat. And I carried out a fucking rugby ball and shit. And I had the flag. Every foreigner's got to have a flag.
Right.
So yeah, I did all that silly, did the bushwhacker thing. I did that for, even though they're Kiwis, it didn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah. Well, Americans, we can't tell the difference between New Zealand and Australia. It's all the same.
100%. Yeah, I'm talking with Jasmine McKenzie about that, and she was like, "You don't sound Australian at all." I go, "But you got to understand when I started in the late '90s, early 2000s, they didn't fucking know." She's like,
Right.
"You sound like you're from London." I'm like, "Yeah, but they didn't know. They don't like. They don't know. Like
Right.
you're 100% on there." Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So was it? You said like the Gateway Championship Wrestling guys would like go to the one that had the 18 letters in its
Oh yeah, yeah,
acronym.
yeah.
You said they would like go there and start trouble. So when you started working for the like, was there a falling out? Was there political heat
No,
for
no,
doing it, or
no.
had the
Well,
other one started to dry up a little? And
no. They're still running strong. They're
wow,
still
okay,
running. So they have been for years. The old promoter died. They got a new guy. He's running. But no, what had happened was the GCW. They're like, we want to offer you more opportunities because working for the 18 letter, the alphabet soup guys, it was once a month.
Okay.
So GCW, they'd be running every weekend. And then shortly after I joined with them, they got like a local access cable show. So
Oh, cool.
we were filming like legitimately filming like a month's worth of content every weekend in one weekend. So costume changes, set changes. It was awesome. It was like a dream. Like for about 6 years, GCW Gateway Championship Wrestling was like hot shit in St. Louis. It was on public access, and then it got like the local network channel, but like late at night,
Okay.
obviously. So and then I left that company for more opportunity, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And opportunity sure as shit came because out of that class that I was in, out of that group, we got to run with people like MsChif, who started in GCW, and Delirious, who
Right.
started in GCW, and Matt Sydal, who started in GCW. So yeah, like that jumping that jumping off point got us to do spots in TNA and got us the experience for me to go to IWA,
Right.
and then go to a Ring of Honor and so on and so forth. I left for more opportunity. That's
Okay.
the whole jam of
Well,
it.
and that's what everybody is trying, that's the goal,
Yeah,
by everybody. So, and it worked out. And I had that down where I was like going through the Gateway Championship Wrestling stuff that you were doing, and I had written down it like, there was Delirious, Daizee Haze, MsChif, Pondo was on some shows.
yeah,
Pete Madden had done some early IWA Mid South stuff.
my
There
hero, man.
was one of my best friends, Rich Wayne. He
Mhm.
loved the Gateway Championship Wrestling stuff. Ty Dalton was like the guy that he really liked, and I think Ty Dalton did a couple of IWA shows. The
Tino
the Pete
Blade.
Pete Madden had come in and done some, and
Yep.
I knew those guys because Rich Wayne would be pushing for them and
Yep.
stuff, and so then I'm like sitting there and I'm looking at it and I'm like, what, it was like a breeding ground for like what was going to be the
Yeah.
next big thing in with the IWA crew. You had matches with Madman Pondo. Were those hardcore matches, or was Pondo getting to do like
No,
regular stuff?
no, it was strictly catch as catch can. Yeah. It was done. No, it was hardcore. It was we worked in this beautiful venue called Aggies. It's like a not like a ballroom, but like it was like a wedding venue basically, or an overall venue. We loved it. It was our home for the longest time. I wrestled Pondo there, hardcore match. I have the scar to this day in the middle of my forehead that fucks up my haircut, Pondo. He's like, he threw a shopping cart at me. He did the stop sign shopping cart gimmick. He did it twice. Trio woe, stop sign, shopping cart. Easy peasy. Let's do it again. Picks up the shopping cart and he tries to help me a little bit, but hand slips. Shopping cart bar right in here.
Oof.
You know, 3 hours later, and like a tube of super glue, I'm going home. It was fine though. I love Pondo, love him to death. Um, I haven't seen him in years. At last I talked to him, he was cool. I hope he's still cool. I wish him the best. I love Pondo. When I got to work with him, I was super, super excited. And I was like G'd up to go in for a fight, and like really just get strong style the whole way. And he was like, nah, not tonight. Not tonight. But I do remember one specific moment in this match, and you'd probably be able to find it somewhere online. He does the whip, something, something, I think like a duck or this, that, and the other. And we do the sunset flip and the stop sign, And he rings my fucking bell. And I stagger, and I fire up, and I just basically like no sold it. And that was something that you don't want to do with
No,
Pondo
no.
at all, ever. and he let me have it. I have a couple interesting moments about me learning on the job, as it were. And Pondo gave me one of my first lessons of learning on the job. And what was cool about it too is that after all that hardcore stuff, we did everything, man. We did the Singapore cane, we did the stop sign, we did the shopping cart, cinder block, I think. Um, and he took me in the back and he's like, "Here's what you did that was good. Here's what fucking sucked." And he didn't sugarcoat it. And that's
Right.
what was great about those guys. That's what I love about a true professional like him. Even though like people will like put him in a death match position, he's professional enough to go, "Hey, we both made it out. The match was good. Neither of us are hurt. Bad. And here's what you did
Yeah.
that was cool, man, and keep on doing that. But here's what you did that fucking sucked, and don't ever do it again." And I appreciate that. I think
Right.
wrestling would be a much better place if more workers did what he did. Taught me a good
Right.
lesson right
And a lot of the guys are scared to do, say anything because, you just never know, like if somebody's going to, listen to it and take it, or if they're going to harbor grudges for it. So like a lot of guys just won't say anything at all. So yeah, the ones like Pondo that, he learned that from Tracy, it being,
Mm-hmm.
Tracy Smothers, and being in the IWA locker room. And like, you need those kind of guys
Yeah, I
to
love trying
pass
to.
on that knowledge. And Pondo's still doing great. He's doing stand-up comedy now.
Holy shit!
He just did a performance at the, I mean, it's more open mic kind of
Okay,
thing, but right now. But he just had a thing last a week ago, tomorrow.
okay,
So as we're recording this, he had just done a performance in Louisville, and I think I just talked to him. He said like 100 people came out to it
nice.
to listen to it. So he's doing well. Still doing some wrestling shots when he can. So
I saw him in a franchise do something not too long ago, in like a high school gym, obviously.
yeah,
But I mean, he can still work. He
yeah.
can still be up the crowd.
And he's lost a ton of weight. He's a lot
Yeah,
healthier
yeah,
now. So
yeah, yeah.
that's good on him. Um, One of the GCW matches that I wanted to specifically ask you about, because I popped when I saw it in the list of results. May 14th, 2005, you wrestled Cowboy Bob Orton.
Hell
Please
yeah.
tell me he still had the cast on his arm.
No, unfortunately, didn't do the cast.
Oh, God damn it.
I begged and pleaded for that to be the
Oh,
finish, and he wouldn't do it. I just wanted him to like. I wanted to like, do something where I start a hot fucking comeback, just hot, white meat babyface comeback, and then just out of nowhere, classic with the fucking gimmick, and he wouldn't do it. I'm like, all right, well,
son of a
let's just go out there.
bitch. That's
I
such a
know,
wasted opportunity. I
I
mean,
know,
that man had that cast on for 5 years on TV, and he won't do it on the indies.
I know, I
I
know.
mean, well, maybe it's I don't know. Is it a lawsuit that he's scared that Vince would sue him if he was doing it, or
Well, maybe if the toys have the cast on the toy, which I would imagine they probably do, I could see some litigious action coming his
yeah,
way. Did it,
yeah.
some sort of stupid trademark. No, that was a match. That was a come to Jesus meeting match too. Not not because of my misbehavior or ignorance, more so that Bob, it's old school. It's you lay him in, strong but safe. And I love that guy. Bob was fucking awesome. He treated me so well, made me look good, and I made him look good. And I hope I did. And yeah, no cast, but still worked out pretty well.
Oh, that just
I know, right?
absolutely breaks my heart here. Like, I mean, that's what he's known for. He's got to,
I should have come out with the fucking
you
cast.
should have came out with the
Yes.
cast.
Yeah.
Yes, if
Yeah. I
he's
should
not
just
going to
flip
do
the
it, you
script.
do it.
Yeah,
You
I should
know?
have come out with the cast, flip the script, I'll go heel. He'll be the baby and fucking glom me with it. It'll be great.
Or he could have just like stop hitting yourself, and made you
Beautiful,
hit
yeah.
yourself with the cast. That would have been. Oh, damn it! Time machine. We're gonna put
I know,
that like
right?
once we get the time machine, we're gonna go back
Let's
and
do it.
fix that. By God. Um, so right around this time, you started wrestling on for other companies, and I noticed you started using the name Dingo Machete.
Yeah, that
On
was a
these.
short lived character. Yeah. Um,
Did you just change it because you were on a different company, so you wanted a little different, or
yeah, yeah. I was just playing with stuff. You know, much like like I said, a stand-up comedian, actor, indie wrestler, whatever. You kind of throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
right? And you
And
have to evolve and change, and
yeah,
you go off and have on a different show, and that's the perfect time to try your new material and
so
see try
that's
to keep it
funny.
fresh.
Yeah, the machete thing is funny because it's a play on my shoot last name. My shoot last name is spelled. Everybody, get ready to write it down. It's Mschede. It sounds like it looks like machine, but you can pronounce it machete.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we'll give this a shot. It'll be a play on my last name, see how it works. And it didn't really gain too much traction. Fast forward when I'm doing pre-show and opening match or whatever for ROH, and I'm getting pulled aside by guys like Colby and Brian, and they're like, "Wait a minute, hold on a second." And Davey too. He'd be like, what's your name?" I'm like, "John." And they're like, "What's your last name, idiot?" I'm like, "Machete." And they're like, "Your last name's Machete, and your gimmick is Dingo?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You fucking idiot." They would just like chastise the shit out of me and be like, what stupid. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But by that point, Dingo had gained a little bit. Like I dug my heels in it with that name, and it gained a little bit of traction. So I just swapped it back from Machete to Dingo, and I was like, we're just gonna run with that. I took out the I and put an exclamation point in, thinking I was hot shit, and I don't know. I guess it worked. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Now the next thing I had down to ask you about was Lethal Wrestling Alliance.
yeah,
You had a lot of matches against Gary the Barn Owl, and
yeah.
you lost like every time. And I had written down I would have put money on a dingo being able to beat a barn owl, but I don't know anything about barn owls, so maybe I'm underestimating him. And then I clicked on Gary the Barn Owl and realized that that's actually Gary J. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, maybe I won't make a comment on here, but I'll go ahead and I was like, a dingo should be able to beat a barn owl, but
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
not. I don't
100%.
know.
Yeah, I mean, we're a ground mammal. We can run pretty fast. We got sharp teeth, we're vicious. We kill babies, apparently. I don't know.
Yes, well,
Uh,
well, you eat them
but yeah,
allegedly.
yeah.
Maybe,
But
maybe.
barn owls are swift and they glide effortlessly, easily through the night. You can't hear them coming, but no, yeah, I worked for a company called LWA. It was one of I had so much fun there. There was a great crew, and I still work with those guys to this day. That company folded and became, I think it became the original St. Louis Anarchy, and they coupled with a group from Texas, and they kind of did like cross promotion. But anyways, LWA was fun. It was a blast. It was just a bunch of lesser informed independent wrestlers trying to cut their teeth and make a show and a name for themselves. And guys like Gary J and another guy named Pierre Abernathy, they ended up going to places like doing stuff for Chikara and just going. They traveled all over. They're one of the most underrated crews and unheard of crews. They were just all over the country and nobody ever really heard of them. And they all came out of LWA. Like um, it was a good time. We had a great time there. And Gary J has evolved into something that's he's an icon, if not the icon of St. Louis wrestling today. Um, you know, they got this thing in St. Louis wrestling they call the pillars of St. Louis
Yeah,
wrestling, kind of like the pillars in over in Japan.
right.
Uh, but the pillars well, this is a couple of years ago at least. Some of the pillars in St. Louis wrestling were uh, uh, the War Horse Jake Parnell. I want to say Gary J, and then like Davey Vega, Matt Fitchett. These are all people that came from the same crew, from the same tutelage, and they're all out there doing fucking the best shit ever now. And it all starts with stupid kids wanting to do fun shit just to entertain themselves, like an LWA.
Okay,
So
now did Gary J was he dressed like an owl at this
he
point?
fucking was, man.
He
He
was
was
dressed as an owl. Okay. Well, I
that
mean, if you're
only
going to call yourself that, you gotta, we talked about it earlier. Embrace it. Go all out in it.
only after the Chikara stuff started to pick up for him did he do more of an actual barn owl gimmick. He had like this. I want to say it was like a boxing face protector, and it had like feathers and shit all over it. And he had like specific like wing things. When he was the barn owl back in LWA, he just had like barn owl face paint on his eyes and stuff. It was just weird, man. It was weird, but it worked. It
Okay.
worked, and the crowd loved him. And he would go out there and say hoot, and just it was a good time, man. Love those guys.
Okay. Um, so now we're going to jump into you actually making it to IWA.
Okay.
According to Cage Match, a lot of stuff could be missing, but it looked like the first show for IWA Mid South that you did was the 11th anniversary show, October 13th, 2007. You lost in a six-way elimination match that was won by Devin Moore. Is that how
Yep.
you remember
Yeah, tracks.
that?
Yeah.
That's your IWA Mid South debut. So
Yeah.
like
That
you
was
don't
at
come to
the
you don't come to IWA until 2007. Delirious, all those guys were there several years earlier,
yeah.
that you had been working with. Was it just a timing issue that you never like you didn't come with them when they came at that
Um,
time? Like why were you so much after like that crew that you were with?
I mean, for a shoot, when I was younger and coming up in wrestling, I was pretty stupid. I would say things that I let my emotions get the best of me. And while that crews like Sydal and Delirious, they rolled together a lot. Uh, I, I would, um, there was a time where I got into an argument with Delirious after a show, and I think that pretty much sealed my deal with riding with him for a certain amount of time.
You
We
spoke his language?
Yeah, yeah. He screamed at me and I was like, well, fuck you too, you know? Um,
So,
I,
well, I guess I could see a dingo being able to understand gibberish and
yeah, yeah.
like especially if you talked like the Tasmanian Devil on Looney Tunes or whatever. I could see like that persona and Delirious having a full on conversation, but you know,
Essentially, it came up to being like just a personality clash, and we didn't get along for a quite some time.
okay,
After Delirious left, and then came back, and we hashed things out. That's right around the time that I started
okay,
in IWA. Yeah, it's just again ignorance on my part. I made stupid mistakes, and yeah, that's probably what held me back. And so, but once I got my foot in the door at IWA, I was able to like just show people what I could do, what I was willing to do, willing to again show up early, stay late, bust my ass, that sort of thing.
right. So question for you. I've never like asked any of the others on here, but I'll ask you since your debut it was in a six-way match.
Mhm.
Um, with like was I mean, I know I'm biased in this way, but like I'm for the sake of this argument, I'm going to say that like IWA is something that you were trying for a while to get to and
Mhm.
trying to get your foot in that door. Um, but then Ian would always have like 40 guys on one show. And so there's these six ways and these eight ways and these 10 ways on the shows. And you're coming from like St. Louis. So it's a drive, it's a
Yeah.
haul.
Yeah.
And then you get here and this is your opportunity to get your foot in the door and your opportunity to shine. And then you're in there with like a dozen other guys in really like your part, you're probably getting what 2-3 minutes at most to
At
like
most.
try to do your thing. Like, is that disheartening to the guys that you're driving all that way and then you just don't get to really do anything? Because
No.
I know some of the guys were always like, that's part of the reason why my match, like the matches would be so long is because these guys, you're driving all this way and you want to actually be able to do something.
Right.
But then your opportunity, you get put out there and it's like, well, you got to make these 2 minutes count, kid.
So having learned a little bit from what we just previously talked about, like as far as like social interactions with people who might be a step ahead of you, and then learning from that incident that like maybe I should approach it differently. And so I did. I kind of put my ego aside and I was like, all right, I'm gonna still go out there and be aggressive and beat the shit out of people. And but also I'm gonna go out there and if I only got 2 minutes max, maybe I should like focus on making somebody else look good so that or maybe all of them look good by taking shitty bumps or you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to just highlight everything because at that point everybody in there can fly and run and dance and jump and do cute shit.
Right.
But not everybody can, go ass over tea kettle from the top to the floor and make the crowd go, holy fuck, what, oh my God. And then we get in the back and somebody will go, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Not a problem. I remember that happened with Ian and I a couple of times. He would be like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, it's not a big deal, man. Holy shit, that looked good. And that was my focus when I would show up was I want to make other people look good so that in turn I can continue to work in a place. I would be known as a good hand, just be like,
Right.
hey, Dingo's a good hand. He'll make you look good. He'll bump the shit out of everything for you. So just whatever you want to do, just let him know, and he'll tweak it a little, and then he'll bump for you like a madman. So yeah, that was my I drive forever and go, okay, I got an opportunity to make somebody look good. Let's do it, and then that'll seal my deal for next time for sure. It'll definitely, and it did. It did. Yeah,
So
I
that's
didn't mind
like
about
good
it.
advice for kids, breaking in today is, you don't always have to get your shit in.
No,
Sometimes it's you make the other guy look good and then everybody's going to want to work with you
yep.
kind
There's two
kind of
sides.
kind of deal,
Yeah, two sides of the same coin, man. Like I would like at that point too. I was starting to like just look at jobbers, and go, oh, I could Barry Horowitz this. Not a big deal. It'll be easy night. And sometimes when you're sore and tired, you go, this is the easiest way. Let's just make the other person look good. I'll take 4 or 5 bumps. All the rest of it'll be Shakespeare, and we'll be out the door. No big deal. And it worked. It worked really, really well. So
Yeah, Bull almost told like a similar kind of story when he was on here and he talked about, he had started out as jobber in AWA and jobber in
uh,
WWF and, just getting squashed every night. And then like he was working Sergeant Slaughter in AWA one night and he just went up to Slaughter and he was like, I want to take the biggest bumps I can for you. So please, like, hit all your big stuff,
Yeah.
do the stuff, like throw me off the top, do all the big things. He's like, I'm here to make you look good.
Yeah.
And he was like, Slaughter was like, you do that for me.
Yeah.
And he was like, sure, that's what I'm here for. And Slaughter's
Yeah.
like, and then he was like, Slaughter asked him, well, what do you do? He's like, if you're going to do this for me, let me do something for you. And then all of a sudden he's like got a few moves. And then he's like, he got in the back and like Greg Gagne was like, wow, I didn't know you could do that stuff. And then all of a sudden, he's progressing up because, other people are scared to death of Slaughter and, oh geez. And he's like, amp it up, do it. Let's do it
Yeah.
all. And,
Yep.
and that's, sometimes that's your way in. And, so that's good advice to have for folks. So you did the 6-way elimination. Devin Moore had won that one. Then you lose to Jason Strife at Simply the Best 8. You have any memories of that one?
Was that a chain? That wasn't a chain yet. We did 2 chains. I remember.
Yeah,
Jason Strife.
I don't think this first one I think was just a regular match before you had really
Yeah.
gotten into the
Yeah.
storyline.
I don't really have many memories of that, except for the fact that I remember, God rest his soul, I remember Nate Strife being, he was like, he used to be like cock of the walk, he was king shit.
Yeah.
And I remember he used to do some stuff with God, what was the old NWA guy, the big guy, Ed
Schumann.
Schulman, yeah.
Ed Schumann, yeah.
He worked for Schumann all the time, and he would work up there and do Schumann shows with like the Black and the Brave and all that. And I don't remember much from the match, but I remember him like laying it out as if he was big time in me. He's like, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I'm like, all right, guy, you and me are the same size. All right, that's fine. But because he had his foot in the door more so than I did, I kowtowed to it. Of course, I'm going to. And, I have an amateur wrestling background. So I definitely remember there were times when people would get lost or go slow. Specifically, I remember these with Nate. Every now and then that would happen, and I would just run a circle around him and take him down. And that would be it. Like, I don't remember much from the match again, but I remember him being a good guy after we got out of the first one and kind of humbling up. So, and I don't ever want to speak ill of the dead. But wrestlers have egos,
Well,
and sometimes,
you have to.
yeah, you have to.
You have
And
to.
he had an ego, and that's okay. That's okay. But he was also cool enough to like realize when it was time to like pull back a little bit and go,
Right.
okay, all right, we're good. No, to answer your question, I don't remember much from that at all.
Okay.
Like I told you in the DMs, I have drank a lot in the last 15 years, man.
Yeah. So like you're off doing other shows for a few months. You come back to IWA and you get your first win in IWA. March of 2008, you defeat Christian Abel.
But yeah.
And
God damn. Jim, you're everybody that you're mentioning here. Wait, this is so creepy, Fannin. But like, I don't even want to say it. Like, Strife is gone.
and I just
Abel's gone.
found out like 2 weeks ago that Christian Abel had
Yeah,
passed
he's
away.
gone.
Like I had Michael Z on here, and Michael Z like made a comment about Christian Abel and was like, recipe. I was like, what?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I was so removed from all things wrestling that like that one strife I had heard about because there was like enough people on that I had just started following people again. Because for the longest time on Twitter, if Manawa would retweet somebody into my timeline,
Yeah.
And it was wrestling, I would just block that person.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
And Manawa would be like, why don't you just turn off my RT, right? Just turn off my retweets instead of blocking everybody. And I'm like, well, you retweet your wife's ass. And I like that in my timeline. So I'm not going to turn off the retweets, but I'm just going to block the wrestlers. And he was like, you're ridiculous. And so there would be like, I would see like a couple of people, like there was like one time, like, I think it was Shane Mercer had like commented like somebody had said something about me. And then like, I saw like, he had to think like, why the hell does he have me blocked? And man was like, he's got everybody blocked. Don't take it personal. Cause I think at one time on like the old Twitter account I had like over 4,000 people blocked. I mean, it was just like, I would just block. And so every time I see somebody that'll make a comment like, I've never interacted with this person and they've got me blocked, I have no idea why. And I'm like, well, they're probably like me. And they just, it got put into their timeline somehow. And they were just like, nope, just block it. I don't want it at all. And so, yeah, I had no idea that Christian Abel had passed. I really liked, he was a real good hand in the ring.
He was solid,
liked having him on shows. And,
wasn't he like, I mean, for lack of better terms, wasn't he Elgin's young boy for a moment? Like he came along with Elgin.
It could have been. I think he was a Michigan guy.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I mean, like
right,
Elgin would come in and ride with the Michigan guys a lot. So it could have.
That's what happened. Yeah, because it used to be Josh Abercrombie and them would roll together. You're right.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember much of that match, but I do remember the blessing of getting a win because he was a big dude. He's bigger than me.
Yeah, he was built.
Yeah, he was set, man, and like the fact that he had enough faith in me to put me over was mind-boggling to me. So awesome,
Yeah. So we'll move on. These next two are still alive.
Okay.
So we'll try to lighten things up here.
Please.
So after you come back, you get your win, and then you follow up, you lose to Jimmy Jacobs and you lose to Sami Callihan in April. But then you end up getting a light heavyweight title match against Jason Hades in May of 2008. And you lose that one. So it's like you have a few losses, you finally get a win, and then you're right back to a few more losses. Like it is, we've talked, you've said it, wrestlers have egos. Is that like, are you on a down at that point? Are you happy you at least got a title? You were in there and had that title shot. Does that mean anything at that point? Are you really paying attention to the wins and losses, or are you just crowd reaction and keep getting booked? Like what's the important thing there?
I like a little bit of both, a little from column A, a little from column B. Especially when, like you said, you drive so long and you're like, okay, well, what am I doing here? Am I just spinning my wheels? But you got to pull back. You got to zoom out and go, who am I taking these losses to? Who am I getting an opportunity to work with? What chances am I getting? Because in the end, the W and the L doesn't really, I mean, it does matter to some extent, but not really. So like going from, I would have done it the reverse. I would have done like Sammy, Jimmy, light heavy, and I would have done it that way, but I wasn't upset about anything at all. I was geeked. Bro, I was so excited to work with Jimmy Jacobs. Oh my God. I was just thinking about that match today. I remember putting him in the buckle and just hauling off and just big old forearm. And all I heard was, Jesus Christ. He's like, calm down. But yeah, no, I didn't really think about the wins or being upset about it. It's business. You go in there and you do what you need to do. And make the best out of it. To make chicken salad out of chicken shit. You got to do what you got to do to make it work, and that's what I did. And It just so happened that all three of those guys, I felt like we had really good chemistry, really, really good chemistry. I love working with Jason Hades, but I, I don't know. What more would you like to know? Like,
Yeah,
I would.
I mean, we can move on. Like, you answered the question that I had on it.
Oh, okay, okay.
We
Yeah, if
don't
I'm
have to sit
rambling.
there. I don't expect anybody to remember move for move what
Oh,
happened
okay.
in a match or whatever.
I mean, 'cause I know those people. I know those people that could be like, oh yeah, and I did this, this, and this, and I'm like,
Right. Yeah, I
I mean,
can't.
I can't remember breakfast.
Yeah, I have, there was a lot of we did it was almost 6 hours that I recorded with Crusher Bones's kid tripping
Okay.
balls, where he just wanted to he wanted to do an ask me anything, and he's like, I got all these questions I got to ask, and so he's asked, and so many of the questions were I have no memory of that whatsoever. Like it's all like blended together. Like I've said it 100 times on here before. I would make fun of Chris Hero because he would write everything down and he had a notebook and it was like, this match, this day, this match, this was my manager, this was the
Yep.
finish, these were the high spots, and I'd just sit there and laugh at him. And like now I wish I'd have done something like that. And I'm
100%. I Yeah.
and now I'm trying, like I'm not writing everything down, but I'm like taking pictures of everything. I've got saving all the graphics that have been put out. Like this go round, I'm like I'm going to make sure that this go round I try and remember stuff.
Yeah, all
Uh,
you young wrestlers out there, they're that may or may not may be listening, like definitely do that. The thing that you said about Hero with the notebook, I want to say he passed that on to Delirious, and Delirious via his blah 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 was telling me this is something you need to do, and I said, fuck that, I'm not going to do that. I don't got time for that. I'm just going to live for the moment. But like you said, exactly like you said, I wish I could go back and go. But I think I got maybe
right,
like 4 pages in a journal that I was like, oh, okay, I'll start doing it. And I got like maybe a handful of matches. I don't even have my gear anymore. I think I got one pair of trunks left. Everything's
yeah,
out the door. Yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy. I just what memories I have up here, of like the good times in the match, the good people that I work with. That's kind of important to me. So I kind of hold on to those.
right,
Accentuate the positive.
yeah. So like an example of my memory, the next thing I had written down, um, you team with Jason Strife
Yeah,
and you lose to Claudio and Delirious.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I wrote down, what the fuck is this? Is this just Ian not following his own booking, or was there some kind of a angle here I don't remember?
No,
So
there's
then,
no.
so then, no, there actually was.
Oh,
There
okay.
actually was, and I was so shocked because I told you, like, neither one of us can remember when we actually officially became me
Yeah.
managing you. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, how am I going to figure this out? Because I'm going off a cage match, and like cage match doesn't mention the two of us together until we're actual tag team partners against Chibi Jacobs and Drake Younger that we'll get to here in a little bit. But I started going through my email and I went as far back as my email would go, and it ended up going back to like June of 2007. And I
Holy
started going
shit.
through it, and there was like some IWA newsletters that I had sent out that were still like in my sent mail email
Holy shit.
box. And so I would like started trying to read some of them around this timeline to see if I had anything that would like actually give me concrete dates.
Uh-huh.
And so for this match, this was like to like get into TPI.
Okay. Yeah.
So there was like, so it wasn't just, oh, I forgot that these guys are feuding. It was like, oh, well, we're going to put them together and see if they can work as a team to try to get
Right.
into TPI or whatever it was. And and then in like the little write up, it was like they could not work together as a team and they did not get along, kind of deal. So I was like, I started going through all these newsletters and stuff. So I'll get into a little bit of it after that, but it's like I had no memory of that, no memory of that
Was it like a
whatsoever.
thing? Did Hades like did I cost the match, or did Hades cost the match, or did like we couldn't come to terms, and that's what like
Well, it was you
like
and Strife, not Hayes.
oh my god, you said Strife.
Yeah,
God damn
so
it.
you and Strife, and
Okay,
um, but
there it is.
yeah, it was like my newsletter write up. It just said that you guys didn't get along, and it ended up costing you. But I didn't have like anything
Detail.
more than that. But so there actually was an angle to it, sort of. Um, so but did you have like you probably must not have very much memories of that either.
Well,
Um,
clearly, I
yeah,
called Strife Hades, man.
yeah. I mean, we had so many damn Jasons at that time,
There was a
and
match.
all spelled like because there was like Jason Quick and then Jason Hades and then Jason Strife, and every one of them was spelled differently, and it was like, what the hell?
There was. Do you remember the match? Well, I'll give it a shot. Let's see if I can roll the dice on this one. There was a match that it was like Hades versus Quick to like who gets to keep the name Jason. Do you remember this?
I do not remember that. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something that because I know that for a while we had a guy that was named Terry Bull that came in and wrestled on shows, and I think he was a Tennessee guy, and he was real good. He was a lot like Todd Morton.
Okay.
But Bull Payne was so mad that there was another like there was only one Bull. You couldn't have Terry Bull and Bull Payne in the same
Oh,
and so there would be like tension there.
yeah.
And then it's like and then you got like oh well we got Jason Dukes and we got Jason Quick and we got Jason Hades and we got Jason Strife and we got like Jason's everywhere and
Too many.
like what
Too
the
many.
like what the hell it just too many
So
damn Jasons to keep them all straight.
it led us to like going into TPI. Is that what you said?
It was supposed to be for like whoever won the tag match got to be into TPI. I think
Gotcha.
is how it so you guys didn't get to be in that TPI because you had lost the match or
Oh, okay. So then so I'm fucked over and pissed off about it. So that starts our little side angle
right
thing. Yeah. Okay.
right. So then you end up beating Jason Strife, and then you end up winning the title. You beat Chuck Taylor June 20th, 2008.
Yeah.
Did you know ahead of time that he was putting the title on you?
Yeah, I did actually.
Okay.
Chuck didn't, but I did. I was in a hotel somewhere in Tennessee, and Ian called me on my prepaid cell phone because I was poor as shit, and he asked me if I'd be willing to, take that up. And then he had a few choice words about Chuck because I think Chuck did something where he did the job, and Ian didn't like it, so he was
on
like,
another show in
yeah,
another company.
yeah. And so Ian
Okay.
didn't like it, and I was like, well, you could have left out that information. It probably made me feel a lot better. Just maybe thinking that you're gonna
I
put
want
it
to
on
make
me.
you champion to punish the other guy.
Right, exactly. I'm
Not
like,
that you
well,
earned it or I liked you, but
I'll take what I can get, I guess. So I said, yeah, I'll take it. That's no problem. So we could go do that outdoor. It's an outdoor show by a bowling alley, I want to say.
yeah, the parking lot in the bowling alley. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a 2-day show. One night I wrestled Toby, and the other night I wrestled. That
Yeah,
was
you beat Chuck to win the title on night
yeah,
1, and then you beat
yeah,
Toby to keep the title on night 2.
yeah. That was the night of the infamous fucking what's his name?
Mike Levy.
Yeah, that was the Levy incident
So
night.
it was so this was at King of the Death Matches.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, he told me about it. I was excited about it because, IWA still had kind of a good, not a good, like a good branding understanding. Like, oh, they come out of the IWA Mid South. That's where a lot of the guys used to go and still can go to still like get a little bit more name for themselves. So that was my idea of getting like, yeah, let's fucking do this. I'll take it. I'll run with it. It's fine with me. And yeah, I walked in and I was talking with Chuck, and I was like, so I remember going right up to Chuck and going, yeah, so this, and this, and then I'm going up. And he was like, oh shit, all right, cool. He was like, he was super excited about it. And I was like, all right, well, cool. As long as there's no bad blood, I don't give a shit. Like, let's go out there and do business. It's fun. I love working with Chuck Taylor. I worked with Toby too. That night was fun. Toby let me give him an airplane spin. I remember that. And yeah, it was a good time. I like those guys.
Yeah, so I mean that like really establishes you because you win the title, and then Toby, former king of the death matches, former champion himself.
Yeah.
He was a made guy, and so you have that right off the bat to really establish yourself. But talk about ups and downs. You got you win the title, and all anybody's talking about is Mike Levy.
Bro, it's uh that was what a wild experience that was. In fact, there was two incidents that came out of that night. One was like a blood in, blood out thing because Roland, I think,
Yes.
retired. Yeah, I think he retired that night. Look at
He,
my memory kicking in here, Jim.
yes, he wanted because we'll talk about that for a second. So yeah, he was battling the
Stomach
colon
cancer.
cancer,
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
and um, he want like we didn't want to do it, but he kept pushing for it, and he's
Yeah,
like, this is if this is gonna be it, I want to go out beaten down.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he wanted to go out, like that, and like I wouldn't watch it. I
yeah.
wouldn't watch. I was like, I can't watch it. Can't have anything to do with it. And it was way too emotional for me. And yeah, so yeah, there was like that moment that there was a lot of people uneasy about it. Um, Not as uneasy as the people ended up being about the whole Mike Levy thing, but yeah, there was just so much going on that show, and it just completely overshadows the title change, which is a shame for
Yeah,
you.
I could see that. At the time, I didn't kind of really. I was kind of more enamored with myself, to be honest. I was like, all right, look what I've done. And then I didn't really see the forest for the trees. I should have pulled back and went, well, God damn it. I was cool that I won, but fucking Mike Levy and fucking poor Roland. Well, shit. But sometimes things happen. You just roll with it. And luckily enough, I was ignorant at that time too, so I didn't really realize it, I guess. Oh man. But yeah, it did overshadow it a little bit. You're right.
Yeah. After that is when you beat August 2nd, 2008 is when you beat Jason Strife in the dog collar match.
Yes.
Do you have memories on that one?
Did we do two of them or one of them? I want to say we did two.
There might have been a second one.
Okay. Well, I think, but
I'm
the
not
first
entirely
one,
sure.
okay, the first one we did for sure. I remember because I watched it back a couple times. I remember, oh, I remember Terry was Tracy on commentary on that? I don't think he was. Mike Z was on commentary for sure because I had I gigged in a very unusual place. And he's like, "Oh my God, he's got like a beard of blood." I remember he said he got a beard of blood because it's just like all down my face, and it was weird. I remember we did some pretty fun stuff. I like he let me beat the shit out of him. Like he let me beat the dog piss out of him, Jim, and it was crazy. Um, we did so like he gave me this. I want to say it was like maybe like a falcon arrow off the apron to the floor, something like that, through chairs. And I remember that. I remember just bleeding all over the fucking place. Um, It was a good match. I liked that match. I had fun with that match. I think that might have been the one where he like Savat kicked me and I went flying into the chairs. That might have been that one. But yeah, I liked working with him very, very much. I love that building too. It was like the Peoria Civics, not the Peoria Civic Center. It was like a like Latin something center or whatever. It was right down the street from the jail. Um, but yeah, it was a good night. I liked that night. It kind of like put me in a position where people are like, oh, Dingo can do this too. He's not just like a wrestler. He can like rough and tumble and brawl and do that too.
Right.
Yeah, it really set me up for being kind of a jack of all trades. So, I think I still have the chain somewhere in the house. I might still have it. But
Nice.
yeah,
Nice. Um, so after that, you beat Drake Younger twice.
yep,
You beat Sammy Callahan.
yeah,
Um, and then 2008 TPI, you beat Strife again in loser leave IWA for 1 year
yeah. That's
match.
that's that's the whole beginning of the yellow dog
Yes, the beginning
situation.
he comes back as the yellow dog.
Yep.
12th anniversary show, you beat Drake again. So
Mm-hmm.
you're just owning Drake Younger here.
There's
Um,
a caveat to that I want to put out there if Drake ever gets to hear it. I still want to apologize to him for this day. I did the TNA kick on him. My heel caught him right in the eye, full force, and I've never felt like more of a piece of shit in my entire life. And it's like, so Drake, no hard feelings. I'm sorry.
so a week after the 12th anniversary, you beat Jimmy Jacobs. So it's almost like you're getting all these wins back for like the
Yeah.
people that you were putting over when you first got here.
Yep.
Um, then you're back with Drake again and you go to a draw. Then there's a double pin and then you just beat him again. Um, so he at least sort of gets a little bit back on you, but
Yeah.
not really. Um, January 2009, you defeat Jason Hades and you actually unify the heavyweight and light heavyweight title.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks later, you lose the light heavyweight title to Carter Gray.
Yeah.
Why did you unify the titles for only 2 weeks?
No fucking clue. No goddamn
Ian
clue.
didn't. There wasn't a grand plan that Ian
No,
shared with you as to
no.
you
This,
know he just didn't want Hades to drop it to Carter Gray.
I like this was where I think we're barreling towards like me doing less, or I don't know. It seems like there was just no point to it whatsoever. Like it was like here, unify the titles or carry both of them, and then like what? And I was just like, yeah, whatever. At this point, Jim, I'm thinking like I'm starting to get the I'm starting to see a little of the BTS with Ian. You know what I'm saying? Like a little behind the scenes of how his brain works. I'm
Yeah,
going, I don't know. I don't know if I'm keen on this much. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just like, yeah, all right, man. Whatever. Sure. Sounds good. Because
I should have looked it up. I think he did something real similar with CM Punk at one point,
okay.
where he had Punk unify the titles, and then like maybe in his mind, and I really hate to crawl in there and try to read his mind, but to me, because it gives you lose to Carter Gray, and then like a few weeks later you lose in a 5-way for the light heavyweight title that had like a bunch of people in it. So the only thing I can think of is he has plans of this big long heavyweight title run for you, so he does this slight detour just to hand you a couple of losses
Sure.
kind of thing. Like I don't I can't imagine any other I don't see any other thing around it that really makes any kind of sense. And like I say, I hate trying to crawl around in that mind
Yeah.
to figure it out. And there may not be anything there to try to figure out. It just could have been whatever tickled his fancy at the moment. But yeah, it was just weird that you would unify the titles for 2 weeks just to pick up a couple of losses. Maybe, I don't know.
You know what? In the grander scheme of things, I'm one of very few individuals to hold both titles at the same time, so I'll
Yeah.
take it. You know,
Yes, that is a neat thing. Like I know CM Punk did it. It might have happened in one of the TPIs or something.
right?
It might have happened where like the title's being defended every match and something happened. So it might have
Mhm.
happened more than just you and Punk, but not entirely sure. Um, so then we get back to where the Yahoo newsletter plays a little bit of a helping hand. So we're still in early 2009 here, and the January of 2009, you defend the title against Jimmy Jacobs. And I go back into the newsletters and I'm reading like some of the results and the write ups about things that are happening. And um, as you're supposed to defend the title against Jimmy Jacobs. I'm losing my mind over the fact that Jimmy Jacobs could potentially become IWA champion again. And I'm like, cutting promos on shows going, I will never allow this to happen. He's never going to get another
Right,
opportunity to throw that title in the trash. And over my dead body, this is happening. And then it says in the write up that, you know, you assure me that there's nothing to worry about and that you've got it. So then for the match, it says in the write up that I was ring announcing. So I was still not managing you at the point,
right.
but I'm ring announcing and you like pinch my cheek and is like as I
Yeah,
go to introduce you and you're like, I've got this, don't worry about it.
yeah,
So at least January of 2009, we're like teasing it and
yeah.
interacting that, you know, we might be in cahoots
Yep.
a little bit. So that was like the earliest I could see of things going on between us. I vaguely remember you pinching my cheek after I read it. I was like, okay, now some of
Yeah,
that's
it's starting
starting
to
to
like,
slowly come
yeah.
back. Like, do you have any memories of that?
I don't remember like I remember like Ian saying things like be nice to him, like treat him like you're his friend or something. We're gonna do something later. I'm like, okay, sure. And I don't remember the pinch on the cheek, but I remember being like very friendly with you, very like pat you on the back kind of thing as you were, in the ring. I don't remember the pinch on the cheek, but I remember Ian telling me to like be friendly towards you and like to try to like I don't know. I can't remember what he said. I remember he said be friendly towards you. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, so it started somewhere around there. And like some of the detailed results around this time were written by somebody like because I remember in the newsletter it was like thanks crime fighter for this
Oh
write up or whatever.
yeah, I know that
So
guy.
some of
Yeah.
it was coming from him. Some of it was coming from other people that were doing the write ups. So hard to see, but they did specific. I know it specifically said in there that you pinched my cheek. So that was something that had happened at one point. Um, we get to 2009 King of the Death matches. You beat Michael Elgin on night one, and then night two you beat Devin Moore and Nick Gage.
Jesus.
So you get that win back against Devin Moore. I knew that was eating at you from your debut.
Oh my God.
You get that one back. Not sure how you defeated the two of them. I'm not sure if it was an elimination or just one pinfall. Um,
I want to say I went up on Devin. I want to say
More than
because
likely, that's
yeah,
probably
yeah, just wrestling brain. That's probably what happened. And I think this is going to be more leading towards when we get together, because I wanted to say Ian was like, hey, start being like more of a dick, or be more of a heel. I probably did something fucking shitty to Devin. If you know what,
Probably, because it is getting into that. Because after King of the Death, I've got down. You beat Masada, you beat Dysfunction, you
Jesus,
you beat Prince Ali, and you beat Larry Sweeney.
God rest his soul.
Um, so yeah, there we are, dragging it back into that territory with things. But May 3rd, 2009, the team of Jim Fannin and Dingo
Yeah,
defeat Drake Younger and Jimmy Jacobs. And I had like Nick Manawa brought Jimmy Jacobs on here for episode 20.
okay,
Uh, Jimmy had no memory of this. I had no memory of what happened in this match. All I know is on Cage Match, somehow it was like 17 and a half minutes, maybe 18 minutes long, and we won. So I can't imagine that I did like that had to have been all you, because there's no
yeah.
way I'm going like if it was 18 minutes, maybe 30 seconds of it was me. I don't have much memory of this at all. Maybe I think I have some photos where I'm like, I got like a chin lock on Drake or something
Yeah,
at one
I
point.
remember bumping my
Um,
ass off. I remember getting the shit kicked out of me in that one. And then they did some goof. I want to say they did some goofball stuff with you, but yeah, I remember Drake running that show, running that match pretty much.
okay.
Like I think Jimmy and I had a spot, but I think Drake did most of the work in that one.
Okay.
Yeah, but like
So
yeah,
that might be why Jimmy didn't really remember if it was mostly Drake, but I
yeah,
mean
I
it
think it
had
was
to have been
mostly
because you had that run where you were like you had all those matches with Drake,
yeah,
and then you had a couple of matches in there with Jimmy. So
yeah.
I was like, it had to have been, we had to have been doing something where I was like getting involved in that for me to have been in the match as a participant in
Yeah.
this tag. So there had to have been something more. And I'm like, there's no way that we just first time we're together is I'm in a match. But I don't know.
What eventually some of it will come out. Like somebody's got to have a DVD or
Right. Somebody out
something.
there is gonna know, and then they'll be like, well, dummies, it was blah 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 blah. Like,
Clearly,
yeah,
you have
well,
no idea. Listen, kids,
freaking
CTE.
this is what 17 years ago. I don't
Yeah,
I don't freaking
CTE is a
remember.
bad thing.
I don't I As I said at the beginning of this, I mean, I'm 3.5 months from making my escape here. And
Yeah,
the whole time I knew the anniversary show in October, that never ended up happening because we didn't get
yeah,
there. I knew that was my exit. And
yeah.
that was that like Jimmy Jacobs was going to beat me in a loser leave match at that show. So I mean, I was just I was on cruise control at this point. So I don't remember like hardly any of this at all. Um, I know that we the yellow dog is a thing at this point because
Yeah,
after that tag match, you beat the yellow dog, and
yep,
it said in the write up that the night before I had taken a pair of scissors and cut off the yellow dog's tail.
yep,
And
yep,
I'm like, I don't remember that at all.
yep.
I have no idea. So like, if you have a memory of this,
I vague. It's spotty at best. Like this is at the point where I am getting more opportunities outside of IWA. So very much like you, I'm on a bit of a cruise control. So I'm just going, I'm gonna put more focus on going across the country and getting spots here and there. But and for that I owe you an apology. Like I should have been more honed and zoned in, but like yeah, man, I have very little memories. If it like I have very little memory. I want to say it was in that school building that we did this. Was that what? Do you remember that? Is that where it was?
I wasn't smart enough to write down more. I just started like just writing down names, and
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Um, I know that like that anniversary show or around this time in that newsletter, that anniversary show, like Terry Funk, Sabu, Al Snow. I mean, there was this. I'm like, how in the hell was he planning on having all these
No,
names on that show?
because
Um,
Al did a show for him in the on the tail end of it.
yeah, yeah. Al did end up doing a show because I remember. I think it was like in Bellevue
Yep.
that the show was at because I remember I like pick him up in Chicago and drive him down, and we went through like a tornado area, and I mean the sky looked like we could die at any moment, and like every radio station was just playing the seek shelter and like
Yeah.
and Al Snow's like just keep going, we're fine, just keep going, and I'm like sitting there going, I don't want to die going to freaking Bellevue, Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah.
That show. But I mean, we survived. I'm still here. But yeah, yes, Al Snow did do a show. But yeah, the names that were on this stuff was just crazy. So yeah, there's you beat Ian, you beat Tracy Smothers, you beat
Yep.
Necro.
Yep. I remember those.
Then we team again, June 7th. So one day ago was the anniversary. As we're recording it, happy anniversary. This must be where you had to have like just broken the record for longest title reign.
Yeah.
At this point,
sounds right.
Because you have a like celebratory like party hat on. In the clip for this, we both have party hats on, so we had to have been celebrating the surpassing for the longest title reign.
Yeah.
And this is the only thing that I have memory of because it's Ian Rotten and Necro Butcher against us.
Yeah.
And the Benny Hill chase scene.
Oh my God.
I remember the Benny Hill chase scene and I begged for it. Ian wanted no part of it. And I'm like, I'm not doing a fucking bar fight with Necro. So
no, absolutely not. No.
Absolutely not. That's not happening. So we tease the bar room spot. I think we're even the ones that set it up and like, let's do it. And then we're like, fuck this shit. And we do the Benny Hill chase scene. Boom. And I remember begging like Smart Mark or whoever it was that was like, put the Benny Hill chase music on here.
Speed it up a
little bit. And they wouldn't do it.
Oh, fuck.
And they wouldn't do it. So like on the release, it's just normal. And it doesn't like, I don't think commentary gets it. So they aren't talking about it.
It didn't land as well as it could have, man.
Right. But this is happening on the IWTV release of this episode. So if you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, if you're listening on Apple or iHeart or any of those others, get your ass to IWTV because the editor is going to put it on here right now as we're talking about it. On that Ask Me Anything episode that I had talked about earlier, I had brought up that there was two things that were the biggest regrets, like material wise, of things that I had pushed for on IWA. And the first one was when I was with that son of a bitch, Danny Daniels, and we defeated Chris Hero in a loser leave IWA match. Cage match. They film Hero like dragging his bag out of the building. And walking away, and like Nate Webb and some of the other baby faces are like standing there, like all depressed as he's and Hero's all depressed as he's walking out the building. And Smart Mark didn't film the show, so I can't really blame them. It was Dark Mark Video. There was like a 2-month spell where this guy named John Barley came in and filmed because Smart Mark didn't come in
Gotcha.
for those shows. So he did the filming and everything turned out dark as shit. Couldn't see fuck all. And he put some cheap cover song of like Bonnie Tyler or something on the tape as Hero's walking out the building. And I'm like, it has to be the Incredible Hulk walk
Oh,
away
yeah,
music
yeah,
from the
yeah.
Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno TV show. It's got to
Yep,
be that. Has to
yep,
be that. The saddest fucking song ever. You know, that walk away music at the end of every episode.
yep.
And I'm like, he's Chris Hero. He is a superhero and he's leaving sad. It's got to be that walkaway music, and he didn't do it. And so the guy that edits my show for IWTV did that for me. He took out the shit song that John Barley put on there, and he put the Incredible Hulk walkaway music
Nice.
to it. And so now
Nice.
I have that file. Hopefully he'll put this into the episode as we talk about it so you can see that's how God intended it to happen. And it
100%.
was perfect. Made it perfect. And the second thing was not putting the Benny Hill music onto the clip we were just talking about of doing the Benny Hill chase scene.
Yeah.
And the editor, my editor for these shows, he didn't do it, but another fan like listened to that episode and then sent me a DM and was like, here you go, Jim, you deserve this. And he sped it up. He put the yakety sax on it. So by God, it's going to be on this episode. I will send you the file. I will message you the file so you can see it. It's like 30 seconds long. So it's not a biggie, but made it perfect. Made it as it was intended, as it happened.
I was so gassed.
Oh, you were gassed. Me running outside the building, around the building, back in the back door, I was dead. I was dead. And then we still had match to do. Right. Well, I mean, you have to do it. You switch spots, switch clothing. I mean, we did the whole we did the whole Benny Hill spoof thing, and like it just went over everybody's head because they weren't old enough to know what the hell it was, but it is what it is.
Oh well.
But that will be on here. Do you have any other memories of that match other than
I remember
other than the faking the barroom brawl and then doing the Benny Hill chase?
No, I remember as always
and being blown up.
yeah, just being blown the fuck up. I wouldn't say the crowd got into it, but like as far as like post match or post production, it wasn't treated as well as you said, or wasn't treated as well as it should be. But I remember people getting a kick out of it, but no, nothing really like. I remember going over that with everybody in the back, and I thought it was fucking genius.
Ian wanted nothing to do with it, and I'm like, by God, this is, I'm like, I've got 3 months left. I want this. We're fucking doing it. And Necro was like, yes, that's awesome. Let's do it.
Yep. No, that was definitely the highlight of that one.
And so even on the clip, you could see like Ian gives up halfway through, and we like he's just like, fuck this, I ain't doing it. And
for fuck's sake, that's so sad because like I remember one time he came out and he was doing Soldier Boy.
Yeah, the Soul Touchers stuff.
Yeah. And I was like, well, you want to do that? I mean, come on.
Right. You can do that, but it was because I wanted to do it. So he was like, no, we're not going to do it. But we did it. We did it.
It worked. We had fun.
And 17 years later, I got my wish to have it put to, it only took 17 years. God damn it. I had to wait 21 years to finally manage Mickey Knuckles. I could wait 17 years to get my Benny Hill chase scene done right. So,
my God.
However, but after that, you beat Ian twice in a row in Bellevue. That time I was smart enough to write down the building. But at that point, it was about all that we were running because we had lost the Joliet building.
Yeah.
So we were only doing Bellevue. Any memory of the two matches there against Ian right at the end?
We did the light bulbs. One of them was light bulbs. I remember that. And at the, I you could definitely see what was coming down the line. Um, I wasn't really, my heart really wasn't getting into it much anymore. You know, uh, I enjoyed the crew, but it definitely had wavered off at that point. It wasn't like as exciting as it used to be. Um, I do remember him hitting me with a fucking incandescent light bulb and stapling my tongue. I want to say maybe it was my tongue. I don't know. I just and being scared shitless that I would probably was going to contract something, you know, because there were rumors at that point floating around. Uh,
Right.
so my heart wasn't into it at that point. I did what I needed to do, uh, and I was just. I think there was. I think that was the match where I turned a botch into a joke because there were like two chairs and I had a piece of like plywood or something, and I would put one end on the chair and like I went to go scoot it over to the other one. The ass end fell off the other one. I was just playing back and forth with my like I thought it was just fun. I was like, fuck it, why not,
Yeah.
whatever. And then I'm pretty sure Ian glommed me from behind at that point. That's about the only thing that I remember from that. It's just like at that point I was just like, oh, let's just do whatever the fuck, let's just have fun out there.
Yeah.
And we did. I just wasn't a big. I was super not. I was definitely not excited about getting a light bulb crushed in my eyes and my face and shit. It's
Right.
not a fan of that, but he ensured me it would be okay, and
Well,
it was.
you're
And
still here. You're still here.
yeah,
You made it through it. So
that's all right. I got him
yeah.
back at the fucking what is it, the Juggalo thing, the what is it called? I
Gathering of
put
the Juggalos.
yeah, I put a drill in his head, and and I worked it, but the drill got caught around his hair. The bit got caught around his hair, and so it's on YouTube, and you step back, you can just see the drill just hanging off of his head. So it was funny. Yeah, yeah. That's about my memories from there. Because like Bellevue, that building, I don't know, man. It just it's fucking something creepy going on there. So,
Yeah, like everybody has been talking about that building after the fact. Like I've seen it in talking about like criminals living in the building and it
oh
being
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
halfway
Criminals,
house and stuff. And
yeah,
I was like, I knew nothing about that. I had
yeah,
no
yeah,
idea that. Um, when I had told you before we started recording, at this point I was showing up at the last minute
yep,
and then getting the hell out of there as soon as possible and doing as little interaction as humanly possible with just
yeah,
didn't like I was just I was one of those guys that was, the people that's been at the company for 40 years and they're just crossing off on the calendar every day. They got the big X's going like,
yep.
oh, just 19 more days, 19, like trying to get to that fucking anniversary show so I could get the hell out of there. And
Wait for that gold watch.
yeah,
Never.
yeah, gold plated, turn your wrist green if you got it from Ian Rotten.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
um, so that gets us to the what ends up being my last night in the company, August the 28th of 2009, where a couple of days before that, Ian Rotten gets onto the internet and on the message board and says, this is going to be the last show and IWA is closing up.
yeah,
And, at this point, it was 2-3 times a year this would happen,
yep,
kind of thing. And so I took it upon myself to just go out to the ring and say, you know, I'm done.
yeah,
Whether you bring this back or not, and everybody knows you're going to bring it back at some point. I didn't expect it to be 2 months. Uh, I figured it'd be longer than that, but I knew it was past the anniversary, like it would be past the anniversary show. I was getting married in December. I was like, I'm done. I'm never coming back. This
yeah,
is it. We beat Ryan. You beat Ryan Phoenix
yep,
that night.
yep.
Um, if I remember, it ended like Ryan Phoenix was pretty good. He was
Yeah,
a
he was
good
damn good.
he was damn good and it was a good match. like the crowd hated the fact that we won, or you won, and because he was the hometown kid,
Yep.
and they wanted him to go out as champion. Um, but like 3 months later, he brings back doing shows, and you relinquish the title due
Yeah.
to injury.
Yeah. Yeah. In '09, I wrestled one of my students and I took a shit bump, man, and it gave me what's called a coal shoveler's fracture. And it's a spinous, a piece of your vertebrae chips off and gets stuck in between in the disc. And so there's no nerve damage, but eventually there will be. And there it is. Like I have
Yeah.
terrible neuropathy now. Um, but I was wrestling one of my students. I took a Fire Thunder driver, just ate shit face first. And you could hear it. It's on camera. You can hear the pop. And I was like, fuck this. I was in a C collar for like, I don't know, month or two. Fuck's terrible. Relinquished the title. They did the whole around the ring, and thank you. And, I support indie wrestling. And that was pretty much it for me, I think. I don't remember ever much after that, honestly.
It looked like you eventually returned to IWA in 2017.
Yes. Yes.
And you end up beating both of the rejects,
Yep.
Reed Bentley and John Wayne Murdoch. So,
Yep.
um, a little Fannin family on Fannin family crime going on there, as history would end up having it later on,
Yeah.
um, as we're getting ready for them to officially join the family here. And uh, Murdoch will be this coming Friday, just a few days away. And then at the end of the month, Murdoch and Reed as a team will get managed by me at Pawcade. But you beat both of those. There is a title IWA title tournament. You beat John Calvin
I remember that.
And Mance Warner.
Yep.
But you lost to Aaron Williams, and then you never work IWA again.
Nope. Nope.
Um, did you just come in to just have
I
that a little taste of it, see if
Yeah,
maybe things got better, or
right. Basically, I was like, I'll give it a shot again, see what's going on. Um, I got cleared. It's okay. Give it a shot. Uh, um, and it didn't have the same magic. My expectation was through the roof, so I was let down. Um, yeah, I walked in, I was like, well, here we are in a flea market again,
same
and
as it ever was.
yeah, and I was just like, it's hot as shit, and uh, yeah, it just wasn't what I expected it to be or what I wanted it to be, and I mean, all the people were there were nice and kind and stuff, but like at that point, let's see, that's 10 years ago, so I'm 35 at that point. I'm like, man, I don't want to. Like I say, I don't want. I'm hot as shit, tired. In my 20s, I would have, yeah, let's fucking do this, let's go. But like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to do this no more, man. It's just for the birds. And yeah, after Williams and John Calvin, I was like, nope, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this anymore. But there's more to the story after that. Do you have the rest of that info too? Because like, I obviously wrestled again after that.
I wrote down, it looked like, according to Cage Match, it looked like you took like 6 years off
Yeah,
after that, and then
yeah,
you came back and did a few of the St. Louis Anarchy shows.
yep. I did a couple of Anarchy shows, and then I did the retirement match against Gary the Barnolds. Little throwback to the beginning of the conversation. Yeah, I did a couple matches. One with like Derek Neal. Like Derek Neal, he's a good kid, good guy. I think I want to say I wrestled Aaron Williams once. Christian Rose. Christian Rose, I wrestled with him and he blew out my arm. Fuck you, Christian Rose. No, I got injured in that match. He did like a boss man slam and it tore my pec. and it was the weirdest shit. Like I don't know, the wrong place, wrong time. It happened. It was a complete accident. So then I had the retirement match with Gary. I guess that was like a 23 maybe, or I get 23 or 24. And that was, that's all she wrote. Now I help produce for that company at St. Louis Anarchy. I go down there and do their once a month gigs, and that's a perfect speed for me. I agent some of their matches, some of their segments. I keep the time for their show. Um, we run seminars, and it's a good thing. Like they're coming up with their Circus Maximus show here pretty soon, in July.
Okay.
And, I'm always stoked.
And they just had Eddie Kingston against Charlie Evans, right?
Yep, yep. That was fire, man. That was hot fire. Kingston
And
still can go, man. I love it.
yeah,
So good.
I had just saw Eddie when I did my comeback. It was the first show back was the during the wrestling convention that they do every year in Indianapolis,
Okay.
and they had brought him in for that,
Okay.
and so like I was on the Black Label Pro show that was part of the like Squared Circle Expo, I guess is the name of the convention thing.
Right.
But Black Label Pro did a show the Friday night of the convention. I managed Mickey Knuckles on that show.
Beautiful.
And then like the year before, my best friend loves going to those conventions and just getting as many damn autographs as he can get off of anybody that's got an action figure, or he'll get all these 8x10s off of people online, and just has his entire basement is just flooded with football, baseball, and wrestling autographs and photos and helmets and action figures and all that stuff. But so like a year ago we went because Cash Flow was advertised,
Okay.
and I wanted to see Cash Flow, but then Cash Flow ended up having to film Tulsa King, and so he had to cancel and wasn't there. But then Claudio was there,
Nice.
and I was like, oh well, I ain't seen Claudio in forever, so I'll go see Claudio. And Claudio had no idea who could not remember me,
Oh,
had no idea who the hell I was, and it like crushed me.
yeah.
Um, so then I was like worried. It's like Eddie was advertised, and I'm like, is Eddie gonna remember me? I ain't seen Eddie in forever.
I got
Is he gonna remember me? Oh shit. And I was like, I'd cry if Eddie didn't remember me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like then he gets announced that he's wrestling in Canada on the Friday. And I'm like, fuck, is he even gonna is this gonna be a Cash Flow situation? Eddie's not even gonna be
Yeah.
there now. And they're like, no, Eddie will be there the Saturday. So like luckily I had Wrestle Arts in Indianapolis on the Saturday. So I was still there, and I came in, and like Eddie saw me almost before I saw him, and he just came running up and gave me this huge hug, and we just like hugged forever.
That's
And then he's like sitting there going, I am so happy to hear that you're back to doing this. Because somebody had already told him that, I had done the show the night before, and stuff. So I like just absolutely loved running into Eddie, and like remembered where he came from,
you and me
and
both, man. Like
everybody. And
I saw him in Anarchy, and they gave me a segment for him to produce, and I'm like, hey Eddie, how's it going? Blah blah blah. We're going over this and everything. And he just keeps staring at me and staring at me, and I'm like, do you remember who I am? And he goes, and he reaches down and he pulls up my shirt to like look at my tattoo on my
dude,
back. Yeah. And he's like, oh shit. He, same thing as you, man. He's big hug,
yeah,
genuine man. Just like, he's a good guy. What a sweetheart, And I was so happy, the same as you are, that he remembered me, and like it's such a good thing to have known that like you've made an impact on somebody that you admire, you know?
Right.
So that's fucking awesome for you. It's awesome for me, and he's a genuine guy. So that's good times, Jim.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we've been through a lot.
yeah.
Is there anybody that you want to like say something about before we wrap this up that I didn't bring up in the
Hmm.
any competitors along the way that you want to give a shout out to that you loved working with, or somebody that you got a message like go to hell?
Uh,
Anybody you want to yell at, you know?
no, there's not too many people I don't want to yell at because you know the wrestling is a ladder that you got to climb up and climb down. You know, and nobody ever retires from wrestling. You're always going to be involved in it in some way, shape, or form, whether it's just in front of the TV or it's behind the curtain. So, or in the ring or whatever, you're gonna be involved, and you don't want to sully that image for yourself or for others if you're in the business. I don't really have a bad thing to say about. Well, no, that's not true. There's one guy, but I'll leave his name out of my mouth. But he's the indie guy. It's not worth talking about. Um, but I loved sitting under the learning tree of guys like Jimmy Jacobs. I thought he and I had some damn good chemistry. Um, I miss being excited to like see my name on a card and go, oh, cool, I get to work with this guy tonight. That man, cakewalk. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be breezy. Um, Aaron Williams was definitely a good dude to work with. Easy guy to work with. Matt Cage. Matt Cage is back at it again too. I don't know if you've heard that or seen about
I
that.
think Manawa was, I think, or it was either Manawa or maybe it was Trick and Connor
Yeah,
when we were going to a show a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I did hear that, see his name pop up, and
yeah.
it must be
Oh,
something in the water, you know. He's back, I'm back. I don't
yeah.
know.
Somebody, I don't know. I'm not guaranteeing anything. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, because I don't have vested interest in it, but like, it's a big shout out to St. Louis Anarchy. They've given me, given an old dog a new home to like work with and help make better, and I appreciate that. They got good things coming down the line. Um, so yeah, that's my big shout out for them. As far as an individual that I'd like to shout out, like the best. Whew, in my IWA time, there were two people that really, or three, that stood out to me working with. One was Jimmy. Hades was the other. I loved working Jason Hades. One of my favorite opponents. Easy night. Just gel, just clicked really well together. Um, Strife was probably the third. But overall, my experience in IWA was good. It was good. I mean, there were ups and downs. There was a time where I had to like right after Mickey had broke her leg with Sarah Del Rey. I stayed with Ian and Mickey and John Calvin and Peoria, and somebody was like trying to steal the ring truck or some shit. And like I remember chasing after them, and there was gunshots, and it was wild. IWA, it was a wild time, but it wasn't always a bad time. It definitely had its moments for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
there were many
Yeah.
there were many envelopes left on top of gas station pumps. There were
Uh,
many people walking out the door with the money box. You know, we've had those moments, but overall, I mean, I don't look back at it with malice. It was a good learning experience. Um, and I don't wish ill will on anybody because I don't want it to come back to me. But yeah, overall, Jim, I'm pretty happy with where I was in IWA and all the experiences that I've had, and just thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it very much.
well, I'll tell you, more than one person, as I was saying that I had, started talking to you and gotten hooked up with you again and was having you on here, more than one person, you were talking about the pillars of St. Louis.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you know, everybody I talked to had you as one of the main pillars,
Oh,
and you had left yourself off that list. So don't sell yourself short on that one.
I'm
Especially
the I'm the foundation. They can be the
you
pillars, but I'll be the
the
foundation.
the guy that does the editing for this show. Um, when I was right before that first night back with Black Label Pro, Mickey was supposed to wrestle um, Alice Crowley,
Yeah, yeah,
Big Al or whatever her name is,
yeah.
and she ended up like getting booked onto shows in Canada and pulled off. So Mickey ended up working Nate Webb, but the
Oh,
editor to this show, he was like sitting there going, "Oh well, since you've last been in wrestling, she was 3 years old when you retired," and he was like, "Josh Crane is a pillar of the Midwest Indies, and he was 3 years from even starting wrestling when you retired," and he's like, and he was like, Dingo went on to be a pillar of St. Louis, and he's a Midwest legend and pillar now. And he's like all this stuff that it like making it like, oh, I'm like 16 and a half years is a long ass time. I
yeah, it
know
is.
a lot of things have happened and a lot of things have changed, but you know, you're right there as one of the main names in the Midwest. So thank you very much for taking time to join me today. Do you have anything? You have any merch to hype or
No, I don't have any merch.
anything other than the St. Louis Anarchy
Yeah,
shows?
I do want to give out two more shout outs, just two more.
Yeah.
I'll throw back to Gary J because right now that man is the heart and soul of St. Louis wrestling, and he is going to be permanently etched in indie wrestling history. He's one of the best and hardest working motherfuckers I've ever met in my entire life. So big ups to Gary J. Right behind him is just this kid that works for GCW now. He works for St. Louis Anarchy. He works all over the place. And he's about this fucking big, but he got a heart
Anakin?
this big. Yeah, Anakin Murphy. That kid is fired. He's got a huge, huge opportunity before him. And I'm so happy that he's gonna be pushing and moving places and making moves. He's doing really, really well. So those are the two that I wanted to shout out and put over. Not, Anakin doesn't need much putting over anymore, but
Well,
he's on a hot run right
funny
now.
you decide to put him over because that is our opponent on Friday night
Oh, you
here
son of a bitch.
in Bloodstone. It's John Wayne Murdoch versus Anakin Murphy. So,
Oh,
we're promising to fulfill his death wish for him
okay.
on this show. So,
Saturday night.
Friday night,
Where this
Friday
Friday
night,
night?
this
Where
Friday
where
night,
where's it
Logan
at?
Square Auditorium.
Oh, hey, that's weird. That's in Chicago. I'm in
It's in
Chicago, and you're in
Chicago, and
Chicago.
I'm in Chicago. Anakin
Friday night.
evidently is in Chicago now, but yeah, Friday night, uh,
Oh, I,
Bloodstone Wrestling,
I got some PTO. Maybe
Friday night, June the 12th.
okay. Yeah,
Um,
I might have to see what's going on. I take the blue line over there and see what's going on.
yeah, they're into standing room only tickets left
Hell
on
yeah.
that show. They're doing real good. It was supposed to be in Berwyn, but then the shit happened with Berwyn, and
Such a shame. Such a
in
shame.
the immortal words of Sven Gulli, Berwyn. Um, but
It's what a sin that is. I mean,
yeah,
that's a building that's been a Chicago staple for 20 plus 30 years almost. And it's just like, fuck, man.
yeah,
Damn. Damn.
yeah. So it was supposed to be there, and then they moved it to Logan Square Auditorium,
Good.
and they're into standing room only as of this time when we're recording this. So
Good.
hopefully some folks come out that It'll be my first show in the Chicagoland area since Joliet 2009. You
You've
know,
been to Logan Square before, haven't you?
I have never been to Logan Square.
Oh, God bless you. You're gonna pop your cherry at Logan Square. It's a beautiful venue. You've seen it in all the pictures. A million billion companies have run there, but there's nothing like walking in that building. It's a good feeling. You'll love it. You'll love it. I worked there once for freelance,
Okay.
and it was fantastic. I worked what's that guy's name? Oh boy, he works for the E now. Oh boy, it's escaped me. But yeah, you'll love it. You're gonna have a blast. You're gonna have a
Yeah,
blast.
I'm looking forward to it. I made a bucket list of items for when I came back. Almost all of them are already checked off, so I got to start coming up with some new ones. But when I came back, I wanted to manage Mickey. I wanted to do
Yep.
commentary with Nick Manawa. I
Yes.
wanted to manage the rejects to
Okay.
bridge that gap of, because I missed them. I left really like, I guess Murdoch did a tryout show that he was rejected at while I was there, but I missed Murdoch. Like he wasn't even John Wayne Murdoch at that point. So I missed Murdoch and Reed, and I was like, I want to be able to bridge that gap and put they took over as the flag wavers for IWA Mid South
Yep.
after I left. It was
Yep.
them, so I wanted to manage them, and you know at, by the end of this month, I'll have all that stuff crossed off and
Oh
be
yeah.
done with that list. Um, and then I've ended up picking up Trick Davis and Connor Hopkins along the way. That wasn't expected, but I'm looking forward to doing more with them. We're doing some great stuff in wrestle arts.
Good.
I just put a playlist together on my YouTube channel that folks can go watch at youtube.com/sportsfannin, where I just put all the promos that we've done. And like I had mentioned earlier in the show, you know, I, I learned that Jack Tunney and Sam Munchnick and Paul Bosch and, Stanley Blackburn and Bob Guy, like all those guys passed away. Did not know that. Um, Next week we're trying the Supreme Court. The consigliere has some people that used to page with dignitaries such as Sandra Day O'Connor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So we're gonna hope that they can help us out and get
Hopefully, good.
and get us some decisions overturned in wrestle arts to get that title put back onto Connor Hopkins where it belongs. Um, yeah,
It's
thank you so much for joining me tonight. This was a lot of fun.
been my pleasure. Thank you.
Filled in a lot of gaps a little bit, and just I couldn't believe some of the things that I found going through my that were still in my email folder from 2007.
Wow.
That had results and everything, and I could see just how disinterested I was because the newsletter was going out very rarely. Um, it was very sporadic as to, and I was like, oh, well, it would have been nice to have had some detailed results of some of this stuff to really try to fill in the blanks. But it was nice to see that stuff. Um, but folks, if you're like I said earlier, if you're listening to this on anything other than IWTV, please watch it on IWTV. You're going to get to see the video of our beautiful faces, a little bit older than we were last together. So,
Yeah,
a
a lot of it older, man. I'm
I used to have hair, used to,
picking up.
but
It's you're the top of your hair under my face. It's crazy.
yeah, so it's it's been a long time, but it was great to catch up. But
Definitely.
watch these on IWTV. If you're not already subscribed to IWTV, it's cheaper than Netflix. The wrestling is better on IWTV than it is on Netflix. You can
Yep.
see Dingo's segments from, I believe the Anarchy shows are on IWTV, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can watch the Anarchy shows. You can watch these podcasts. Um, Tweet and tell IWTV and Smart Mark Video that you like both, so they know to keep pushing us.
Mhm.
Already been talking about it. This if you're listening to this the day the episode drops, It drops on Friday morning, June the 12th. Get your ass out to Logan Square Auditorium for Bloodstone Wrestling. Standing room only tickets available. Come on out. Watch John Wayne Murdoch join the Fannin family to take on Anakin Murphy with his girlfriend Davina Thorne in his corner.
Yep.
Nick Gage is on the show. There's all kinds of folks on there. I think Gary J is on the show.
Oh, I gotta go now. I gotta go now.
So just go out there and watch that. June the 20th, Trick Davis will have his first match in the Fannin family after he joined. We're going to be in just outside Greenwood, Indiana, just outside of Indianapolis, a suburb of Indianapolis, for Wrestle Arts. The show got moved into the afternoon, so you can do a double header. Go to the Wrestle Arts show in the afternoon and then catch GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, in
Yep.
town that night. The venue, I've been told the venues are like 15 minutes apart. So you can watch the Wrestle Arts and then head on over to Game Changer. Me and Trick might head over and say hi to Nick Manawa since we'll be in the same town. Week after that, June the 27th, double duty at Pawcade in Jeffersonville, Indiana at the arena. I will be managing Trick Davis on that show, and I will be managing the Rejects. Reed Bentley and John Wayne Murdoch will be taking on Sean Ross Sapp and Steve exclamation point. He cut a promo tonight online as we're taping this to say he does not like how I call him Steve exclamation point, but God damn it, stop having it written as Steve exclamation point on all the graphics and I'll stop calling you that.
Yeah.
But come on out to Pawcade. It helps Miss Pitts and Friends. They're animal rescue in the Louisville area. So come on out and support a good cause. Wrestle Arts is also the only charitable nonprofit wrestling company run in the state of Indiana. So you can come on out and watch those two shows and give back to the community by helping out. And Connor Hopkins, Mickey Knuckles, Trick Davis, and the Rejects are the official members of the Fannin family right now. We're ready for bookings, so reach out and let's do business. And we'll see you next time on the next episode of Fannin's Flashbacks. So let it be written. So let it be done. Good day.